Hi everyone, and welcome to the CS show. CS stands not only for customer success, but also for content secrets. This podcast explores the content secrets of customer success leaders.
We put a spotlight on content innovation and bring you an inside look at some of the most exciting moves and initiatives made by customer success leaders and their teams to address growth and scale through content.
We are your co-hosts. I'm Dina.
And I'm Guy. And on today's episode, we host Adi Janowitz, Chief Customer Officer at Hibob, one of the most prominent Israeli startups. And as her LinkedIn title indicates, Adi and Hibob team are helping HR leaders to focus on what matters. Adi is a seasoned customer success leader with vast experience. I had the pleasure of watching her presenting in customer success conferences and having a panel with her. Adi will share with us the highlights of Hibob's content strategy, which spans from classic user knowledge base through a Hibob community and industry-specific content. We'll hear how Hibob combines all of it together and subsequently what benefits they will achieve along the way.
Let's get started. Hi Adi, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Dina,
To
Guy.
start,
Great to be here with you.
Hi.
to start with, tell us a bit about your background and experience as a customer success leader and about your current role.
Absolutely. So, actually, I started my journey as a programmer, and I loved it. I loved programming. But as soon as I got exposed to customer interactions, whether it's on a conference or just meeting clients, I fell in love with the interaction, with simply seeing how software comes into play and creates an impact on our clients. And as such, gradually, I moved towards delivery teams and sitting kind of in the intersection between the product and the clients, and actually moved to CS before it was actually called customer success. And ever since, in the last 12 years or so, I've been actually leading customer success teams. And in the last 4 years at Hibob, leading the customer success organization that basically includes everything post sale. So, including the support function, the implementation or onboarding function, and the ongoing journey, including adoption and expansion of the accounts.
Sounds great. And what does your company do and who are your customers?
So Hibob is basically a people management platform. It's a modern HRIS platform, the leader for SMB accounts. What's different about Hibob is that we were designed to engage with each and every employee as part of the HR function, rather than built as an HR admin tool that later on exposed to the clients. As such, employees love to work with Bob, and our NPS is a great testament to that. So basically, an HRIS that is modern and made for this century.
Great.
Nice. Adi, in preparation for this episode, we spoke about Hibob's focus on efficiency roadmap as a cross-company initiative. In the context of customer success, I assume it can be translated to reducing number of support tickets, for example. Can you give us a bird's eye view of your strategy and how you plan to address this challenge?
Absolutely. So I'll start by being very clear that efficiency is another added KPI on top of the core KPIs of customer success. It all starts with NDR. So, really being able to protect our client base and expand on it, and NPS that indicates the satisfaction, if you will, of the clients. Recently, we added on top of that, a little bit due to the macroeconomy and the challenges of the market, and because of our long term plans to be more at scale, we've added gross margin as a KPI on top of that. And when we started to drill down into what that means for us, or how can we break it into buckets of initiatives, we've realized there are three key ones that we're looking at. One was reducing footprint. So, reducing the amount of tickets by creating more one to many or even many to many communications. reducing costs by being more efficient around how we do the implementations and so on, and increasing revenue. So these were the three key pillars of 10 initiatives that we chose this year to focus on in order to improve our gross margin. And in a nutshell, if we want to focus on that reduction of tickets or reducing the footprint of our customer experience team, we took into account three major pillars in that. One was the contextual content, and we'll talk about it later on. Another was the customer community, creating an online community that by now, a little bit over a year in play, we have 60% of our clients subscribed and engaged with. And the last one was our help center, making it a lot more robust and comprehensive.
So let's delve into the contextual content. What does it mean and how your customers experience and use it on your platform?
So for us, contextual content was not only creating the most relevant content to our clients based on our frequently asked questions and our biggest areas of tickets in the platform, but also giving it to our users in the right time while they're in Bob. So basically, we've created a pool of short articles to address specific needs that our clients have while using the platform, or specific questions, if you will, and then providing it in the context of the page. Right next to it, they can just choose the article and see it next to Bob while they're working on Bob.
Is it
Right.
like a product feature? So at some stage it can pop up a short article and offer that to the user, or it's just an option that the user can pick when they seems to struggle?
It's like whenever you interact with Zendesk or other tools for content or for customer support, you can have a snippet on the side, like that question mark at the bottom that can open up into a tile. So basically, it all resides in that area in the product while you're working the product.
Okay, thank you. Interested to hear who's responsible for planning and creating the content at Hibob.
So basically, we have a product education team. We recently shifted a bit from product education into customer education, but we'll talk about it later. But basically, the product education team worked very closely with our customer experience team, as I said, to identify where we need to focus on and so on. And that has been a huge help towards impacting our users' experience, and at the same time creating less tickets than we've ever had when it comes to the amount of tickets per account.
Okay, and let's quickly touch the customer community that you mentioned before. Can you describe it in a few words? What your customers expect when they join your community, and who's managing the community on Hibob's behalf?
Absolutely. So another great focus area for us is to make sure we're creating value to our customers. And when we talked about the move from product education towards customer education, that was a piece of that, identifying that our customers, one, want to interact with one another and learn from one another, and not only understand how to work with Bob, but actually hear more about best practices of HR and learn from one another. So, a little bit over a year ago, we've established a customer community, a platform on top of creating those events. Most companies do, and it's a great way to allow our clients to interact with one another, as well as with our product directly, and other Hibob representatives.
Adi, as a global company, you have customers in different geographies. And since you're in the HR world, things may differ between countries. Does it show up in the community? Do you localize it?
Dina, it's a great question. It does show up in the community, and we take that into account in the way we address certain matters within the community. When it comes to HR, or as we call it, people and culture areas, there are a lot of things that are more localized, like regulations, time off policies, and so on. As such, we need to allow our clients to interact with customers alike, both in the size but also in the regions. What we've done to facilitate that is we've done a roadshow of dinners, exclusive dinners to our top clients by regions, in the regions, and then kind of established the initial group within our hardcore HR community in there, so that they can continue the interaction they started face to face doing. And we've been using these teams as the core for those more localized teams, if you will. So in our community, you can find conversations that are global and others that are very local.
It's a very interesting approach. And how did you envision customers' different journeys when engaging with the contextual content, the community, and the help center? What purpose that each one of them serve?
So while customer journeys differ by those parameters that I talked about: size, region, focus areas of HR around the world, and so on. There's also a lot in common. We can talk a lot about the basic customer value oriented journey that our clients are going through. And for us, it's all about, first of all, in order to partner with them, identify their business objectives and tailor a solution for their needs, and then help them make a change management in their organization in order to drive adoption towards value realization. And of course, this kind of cycle continues on and on as our business objectives are changing, our clients' business objectives are changing, and so on. So when we are thinking about serving them, we need to make sure we are providing contextual data that is also relevant for the stage they're in. This is a focus area for us going forward. So it's split into two key areas. One, making the content also relevant to their adoption scores or their adoption areas, as well as their stage in the journey.
Thank you.
One more question, Adi, about it was interesting that you mentioned that you spoke to the top clients, you did some dinners or events and got the basic core team for your community. Coming from cybersecurity background, I know that some customers are usually very hesitant to share information. Did you experience or feel from the first time that customers, regardless of their size, especially the bigger ones, are happy to share information regardless of Hibob, of how they do things?
It's a great question, Guy. I think lucky for us, the HR community is already a close-knit community. So they love to interact with one another and learn from one another. And to some extent, it's not reliant on the vertical they come from, but more on the region and so on. So maybe it would be hard when we have two clients from, that are competing, sit one next to the other. But all in all, we haven't found any challenge in having them share information and challenges. They all share very similar challenges and experiences. So it's a win-win for everyone. And creating those smaller, intimate groups allowed us to there's nothing like, face-to-face communication. So creating the seed for the bonding outside the platform and then taking it into the platform.
Lucky for everyone. Great. Adi, you also mentioned before that Hibob produces content as the company wishes to be perceived as a domain expert, domain leader in people's management market. What types of content do you create, or do you partner with external content writer or other domain leaders to engage or engage your employees who are in the trenches and they know what's happening? Interested to know how this content is created and by whom.
So actually kind of all of the above. First and foremost, While we are becoming more customer value driven and asking the right questions to our clients, we become experts. And I think that's true for any customer success organization, right? We can be feature function oriented and think about, templatizing implementation. But the moment we partner with our clients to meet their business objectives, gradually over time we become the experts. Think about any chief people officer out there. They've done 5 tops 10 implementations, from business objectives into actually implementing the system that would address that. Think about it. Every CS person that we work with actually has done more. So basically, empowering our team to understand that they're experts and leveraging that in our marketing material was a huge success. On top of that, of course, we use analysts and researchers outside and bring them to our clients and to the world, as well as work closely with icons like Josh Bersin and others that are experts in the HR area. And we love to hear their opinion about our platform, and super happy that they're a client of Bob as well.
Thank you.
Adi, we started the episode with your strategy for increasing efficiency. So to sum up, what was the impact of your activities on the number of tickets and overall efficiency?
So overall, a lot of these changes are very fresh. So what we've seen, and to be on the safe side, I'd say that we are certain in a 16% reduction in tickets in the last 2 to 3 months. I think over time this number will grow, and we'll be more confident to talk about how much further it grew. But we're taking into account always seasonality and the growth of our product and a lot of other parameters as well. So wanting to be on the safe side, I would say 16% easily. What happened in the same time is the tickets that were eliminated were the easy ones, the quick how to's one. Now we need to go deeper and make sure that we can also address another level of tickets that are a bit deeper.
So this leads us to my next question. Uh, and looking forward, what are your next steps in this context?
So first of all, I think it's an ongoing game. They're always going to be the top tickets, if you will, or the top conversations in tickets and so on, which we will always need to enhance content with. Our product is also evolving, so this is another part that we will constantly need to work out. However, there is a next step that is bigger, and it's there are two main things that are part of that. One is going towards walkthroughs and in-app guidance. Coming from a walkthroughs company, I know the value of in-app guidance, where clients or users really need our help and can get it in the right moment, very clear on what is the actionable next step. So that would be a great focus for us in 2024. And of course, AI, we're already starting to implement AI in multiple areas where we're looking to basically create a chatbot layer eventually that will be able to answer our users' questions quickly and accurately.
Thank you.
Now to the fun fact corner. Adi, before we wrap up, we usually like to ask our guests if they have any interesting anecdote about the team or the process that was unique or exciting while planning or creating a content.
Interesting. So I have two for you, one personal and another a bit, more relevant to a question you asked before. So on a personal level, I would say around 12 years ago, I was head of implementations for a company called IDEMO. At the time, customer success wasn't a thing that I was familiar with in Israel. And I remember one of our executives went on a trip to the US and came back with the idea of calling the team customer success. We thought it over and over again, and we both thought, nah, it's too. It would never stick. It's too fluffy, and it took us another year to realize customer success is the term, and it's here to stay. emphasizing how critical the partnership with our clients is so that they will succeed. So that was, a personal confession, if you will. And on the customer success in general, I'll start with a story. So basically, for a long time, people in customer success came to me and say, "We want to be the experts. Train us so that we will become the experts." With a lot of requests to bring HR experts and to bring people from the external world that can contribute to our HR expertise in the case of Hibob. And at some point, we stopped and say, "Hey, come on, you are doing more implementations than any of the chief people officer you're talking to, just by the fact that you're seeing tens of clients on a weekly basis. So why not turn that into the biggest asset of knowledge for our internal use and for our clients?" And as such, we've started to use our own best practices and our own HR knowledge into nuggets of best practices of HR that our clients are using in the community and through our marketing channels.
Thank you.
Adi, thank you so much for sharing your experience and for this amazing conversation. It was great talking with you, and we really enjoyed having you with us today.
It was lots of fun being here with you, and to many more conversations around customer success and content and everything that makes our community better.
Thank you very much, Adi.
So, Adi introduced a hybrid approach that combines contextual content, a customer community, and a help center, while also being a domain expert for the customers. The goal was to increase efficiency as a cross-company initiative. Now, about a year since they launched it, they see about 60% reduction in the number of tickets, and 70% of the customers joined their community.
Dina, I was very much interested into, let's say, examples that Adi gave. One was the way that they established the community. So she mentioned they had like a series of dinners or events with the biggest customers, and they're forming the core group, which they assumed will be the leaders of this community. And don't think it's a trivial thing that your customers sometimes they compete with each other, especially this is a people's management, so they could definitely target markets where you have customers that are probably in competition, and they are happy to meet together and share best practices for the benefit of their own community. And I think Adi and Hibob are taking positive advantage of that move in building this community and grooming it along the years. So that's one. The other thing that got my attention was the way that they are relying on their own experts, their own Hibob people to create content. As Hibob is trying to create more and more content and be positioned as an industry leader, domain expert. So Adi mentioned working with some external experts, but at the same time, she mentioned their own people who implement dozens of people's management systems, who see different processes, different use cases, are capable enough to create their own content for the benefit of their customers. So again, I like this approach. It's not just relying on external and costly resources. You're actually grooming your own people, your own teams. You're giving them additional options to show their capabilities and grow professionally. Very interesting for us, and interesting, I think, for our community in the way that they are creating and generating content.
Yes, that's right. It's really a very interesting approach. So thanks, Guy, and thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Please share it with your colleagues and stay tuned for our next episode. See you next time.
See you next time. Looking forward, Dina. Bye bye.
Bye.